Hi guys, welcome back to another interview. This time we have Austin from Pretty Awkward joining with us. They Pretty Awkward is a alternative band who are based in Seattle, Washington. Then they just released their album called Get Weird on September 1st, and they have a music video out for their song Woozy, which was their first, I believe, their first single from the album. Um, we do have a premiere coming up with them for their music video for Castle Walls, which is on their album, and we are very excited about that. Um, but in this interview, we got to talk to Austin about a variety of different subjects. We got to talk about the songwriting process, producing, kind of their favorite moment from the Woozy music video, and just a lot of different things, a lot of like kind of nerdy things about like the music industry and writing and having a band and kind of like the live shows and the energy you kind of get from that. But we really enjoyed this conversation with Austin, and we are so excited that we get to premiere the music video for Castle Walls for them. They are really incredible band, and they have an eclectic genre bending album, and that's what we love here at the Honey Pop. So without further ado, let's get into the interview. Hello, welcome to the Honey Pop. It's so nice to have you.
Thank
um,
you for having me.
for our first question, we want to give you the chance to like have the floor and tell us about yourself.
Oh boy. What do you want to know? I do human things when I'm humaning. Um, I'm trying to adjust my volume here so I'm not blowing myself out. Let's see. I sing for our band Pretty Awkward. I like to write songs. I longboard. I like long walks on the beach. um, yeah. What all do you want to know?
Anything about your band and kind of why you're here.
Yeah, well, we just released our first album called Get Weird. We did that on the 1st of September. So we're coming up to a month anniversary of its birth, finally. The majority of the songs we've been sitting on for the better part of like 8 years, I want to say. Um, Nicholas and I started playing together a little over a decade ago. And then we started really like focusing on songwriting and stuff. I'd say in about maybe like early 2014. And yeah, we had a project that ended and just decided like, all right, well, we just want to like focus on honing our craft. So we locked ourselves into a room with no windows type of thing, and cement block inside of a cement block over and over. And yeah, we just hunkered down. We were able to work with a bunch of really awesome musicians that we've known for years and just some dear friends of ours, and signed to Orchard, Another Century, Sony. Did that deal, and then after that, we were given the opportunity to go in and work with some songwriters and producers, and kind of just feel out like what do we want to add to what we already have, you know. Um, and we were able to kind of reimagine some of the songs that we had already written and kind of gotten signed off of, um, which I feel like just enhanced them. You kind of go from artist perspective to producer perspective, and it's the creator versus the listener type of thing, and so it was really cool to kind of experience that. Um, and yeah, we released our first song. I believe it was February of 2019. Did some touring. Played an awesome sold out show at home in February 2020, and as we all know, everything went to shit. So we had to cancel whatever tour we were on. We were like in Southern Oregon. We were just about to go into Northern California and do some more writing and touring and stuff like that, but we had to pull back, come home, and then it was just kind of virtual everything from there. So we were fortunate enough to be able to release some more songs during the pandemic. Um, and then, yeah, here we are. We released Woozy at the end of July, and then just released the rest of the songs. So, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting. So you mentioned your debut album Get Weird, and it came out September 1st. How has the response been that you've noticed, like after releasing the entire album instead of just like kind of the one single off of it?
Um, I've definitely, I was telling somebody, I was like, definitely heard that we're whack. That's cool. But I'm like, I don't care. But no, like in the nicest ways, sorry, adjusting. Um, no, there's been a lot of really nice things being said about it being so eclectic and so kind of jump around genre wise, which is just something that it's just kind of natural to us. Like we all kind of came from like the punk rock, hardcore, screamo, emo world, metalcore stuff, and this was just more of like as a singer, like I personally got tired of rawr every night, every song, and so I kind of wanted to clean it up a little bit, use it as a dynamic, if you will, as you would like falsetto or something like that. Um, but it's been really cool to hear people um, listen from song to song and like not understand until maybe like the fourth track into the album, and then go, oh, I get it now. I see what they're doing, and it's really kind of cool and entertaining for us. So it's I think it's just been going really well, and like it's better than what we could ask for, and all the things.
Yeah, that's something I noticed about the album too. You guys really touch on like a wide array of genres, which I really like because I personally listen to a lot of different music. Like I mean, my favorite is pop punk and pop, but like I listen to country, I listen to like I don't listen to as much EDM, but I listen to a little bit, mainly if there's more pop base to it.
Mhm.
Um, but like I love like country and all these other like genres that like they're kind of weird if you put them all on one playlist because it doesn't make any sense. Like when
Right.
I'm in the car with someone, they're like, "Oh, put your playlist on." My playlists don't make sense. It'll go from like Eminem to like One Direction, and people are
Yes.
like this is weird, and I'm like, but it works.
Oh, that's what I love that shit. Like,
Yeah.
but I feel like that's the place that we're in right now. Like with music, is that like we're in like playlist mindsets. Like I want to hear metal with KRS-One next to it. Like, and you can get Ice Cube's. Can't remember the band that he's got. It's
Ooh.
terrible of me to not remember. But anyway, Body Count. Uh. That ADHD, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, I feel like, and for me, it was funny. I was talking to somebody about this the other day too. Like starting out, I've always been focused on like songwriting and song structure, song formula, rhyme patterns, poetry, all that stuff. That's just been kind of my thing. It's not really been like, let me be the best shredder or this, blast beats and stuff like that, which I admire that tremendously among other musicians. But for me, like the focus has been kind of nerdy engineering and details and things that nobody was really paying attention to, but it's like kind of the important things, at least is what I feel. Um, and so to look at those things and focus on them, I'm sorry, kind of lost track, just coffee. And it's early sort of ish. But yeah, like it's yeah, I lost track. My
Oh,
bad.
that's great. No, I like
We were talking about like
um
song structures and things.
yeah, no, that's
Oh,
fascinating to
playlists,
me.
my bad. um, yeah, it happens. But like I was telling somebody the other day, when I was younger, starting out to write songs, I would get this criticism from my folks for them to they would say like you need to find your voice. You need to find your sound. And the way that I could think about it back in the day was like, okay, well Nickelback sounds like this, Blink-182 sounds like this, Green Day sounds like this, and it's the majority of it is like the vocalist. The vocalist sounds a certain way, so that's part of the tone. But then there's also a more of a musical aspect to that sound. And so I think that's what they were kind of talking about. And as much as I tried to fit myself into certain boxes or certain genres and stuff like that, it was difficult for me to sit there and go, okay, I'm gonna just do punk rock, or I'm just gonna do screamo, or I'm just gonna do EDM. I'm just gonna do the, like just to say these boxes. Like there's definitely heavy influences of certain things. Like the first songs that I wrote were Blink 182, or not wrote, but like learned, to cover and stuff. Um, It's all Blink 182 stuff. So it's, poetry for adults, or not poetry, I'm sorry, nursery rhymes for adults. And so, anyway, I think just in this time, in the last like decade or so, I kind of became like more comfortable with the fact that I don't think I had like that sound thing. And so just kind of uncovering that and developing that from just purely like, what are we going to write today? What's going to come out tomorrow? What's going to, like it's just taking it day by day and really kind of focusing on like, all right, this is cool for this song. This is cool for this song. Different approaches, different processes for each track. Um, so that's been kind of my weird ADHD journey.
No, you're fine. I love learning about this kind of stuff because I'm so far removed from like the actual songwriting process. Like I'm like a journalist and then also like a music photographer. So like I'm very much like separated.
Canon or Sony?
Okay, so I'm a little weird right now. I work with both.
Oh, I
Um,
like it.
but I am a Canon girly through and through. The color system on Canon is my preferred one.
It's
Like I
it's
do
pretty
like
dope.
Sony.
Yeah,
The Sony I'm using right now is incredible. Like don't get me, it's a mirrorless. It's beautiful. But I
so
do
nice.
like my Canon still. Like that's my baby. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, I got a Sony myself, but I do love the Canon colors. It's
they're gorgeous.
awesome.
They're
Yeah,
so
yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah.
But I'm like, oh, that Sony is so nice. But I was like, I don't know. Because I'm testing it out. I'm seeing if I want to switch over to Sony.
Which one are you using?
Um, it's my dad's. It's a Sony A7R, and I don't know what number it is.
It's the 3. That's the one that I got, and it's
I
sick.
don't
I
I don't
love
know
it.
if it's the three. It's a little bit older. Not too old, but like
They're so sick though. Like we've
they're so
recorded so
good.
many music videos with that
Yeah.
camera. And like even I think we did some with a Canon too. I think some of like board was used with Canon stuff, or maybe I think it was Canon lenses. It was Sony body Canon lenses, which I
Okay.
thought was pretty cool. Was it the Bones adapter or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, just the way that they look,
Oh
smooth
yeah.
like
I
film.
love it.
Yeah,
It's so much. It's
yeah.
really, really great. Um,
Nerd
yeah.
side track, wee.
Um, but yeah, I like learning about your like how each artist or band kind of takes on songwriting or producing or like creating an album because everyone is so different. And I think that's so beautiful about music. And especially like you touched on how like your parents said find your voice and be like find your specific like sound. I don't think you have to now. I think maybe that's how it was back in the day. You needed to find your like little niche of like what makes you different and what sets you apart. But with 2023, I don't think you have to have that anymore. Like my favorite music is people who do genre bending to where
Hmm.
they sound different. I mean, they still sound like them because it's their voice,
Right,
but
right.
it's so different and it's so much fun because you get to have so much creativity and you're not just stuck in a bubble. And I that's what I love about it, listening to it, because it just makes it fun.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, I mean, with my last, this thing is like slowly sinking and I'm watching it and it's pretty funny. Um, when I was playing predominantly hard rock, to me, I love the genre. I love the community. I love the festivals. I love the excitement and everybody's just so nice and so appreciative that you like show up and play music. And it's like most of the time I'm like, thank you for coming, but they're like, thank you for playing. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And it was as awesome as it was. I could see that there was a ceiling that I didn't feel like I necessarily, like, it just wasn't for me type of thing. And like I said, I just kind of got tired of being raspy all the time and like, super hard all the time. Like I know how to do it properly to where I don't hurt myself, but it's just, that's so much to focus on. I just want to sing my songs. I just want to
Yeah.
have fun. Like I don't want to like feel like I'm going to work. And I'm going to the gym every night at 5:30 and I'm done by 6 and like all that stuff. Like I love it, but it was just I want to use it more as an element in the art rather than the focal point of the art, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect
So
sense. Because
yeah.
even you can do it like safely with like your vocal cords and stuff. Like it's still hard on you. It's doesn't negate the fact that it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Even if you
Yeah.
can do it safely and you're not gonna like harm yourself, but it's still like
Still a lot of air,
difficult.
still a lot of breathing.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like I've got it long gone. I don't need air. I can just not breathe for 5 minutes before I sing that song and it's fine. Because I'm just in my lower register, it's relaxed. That's been kind of the trick too, is because I'm so used to small clubs and rocking and fast, all that stuff. It's been a completely different learning process to learn how to calm down, not allow the adrenaline and all the dopamine that's hitting you as soon as you're on stage and just let go. And it's just like finding that control within yourself to remain calm. And yeah, sure, there's 250 people in front of you or whatever, um, but just chill. And then that's kind of the trick to a lot of these songs, is I just have to be chill and have to just breathe. So it's very different, but just more challenging and more fun that way.
Yeah, I think that like you said, it's fun. I think it's good for all artists to kind of get out of their comfort zone, because you might feel comfortable having that high energy because like you're not really thinking, you're just kind of doing it.
Hmm.
But when you're having to be, if you have like a slower song or you have like one that isn't as fast paced, you're gonna you actually have to be there and like and your brain has to be there. So
Yes,
and
yeah.
that can be terrifying. Like I respect everyone who gets on stage, honestly, because I that's not me. That could not be me. Like I'm behind a camera, I'm good.
It's just become its own drug at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it definitely allows for those, like, we have this song Castle Walls, or we have actually the first song that we play in the set is Dangerous Love. So we're able to come out swinging and kind of get a good blast of that energy out of us and that excitement of, okay, we're playing a show. Woo! Get that out quick and then get into, I think we go into like board typically and then hang out or something like that. So a couple like a little bit more laid back, but there's still some elements to the songs that are a little bit more exciting and all that stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I do have a question about your songwriting because I'm very curious, and this is also kind of me being selfish because I'm curious and I want to know. Um, because everyone is different with their songwriting, how do you prefer to write? Like either for an album concept or for your singles or kind of like one-offs? Do you like having a full concept in mind when you're gonna come and write, or do you like going into a studio or like a room blind and just writing about whatever you're feeling?
Yeah, B for sure. It's so it kind of touches on that like find your sound genre thing. Like I don't I could try to sit down and write like a jazz song or write a specific pop song, but when I do, it becomes more calculated and it's more of like, all right, now I got to make this move and make this move and make this move, rather than like, well, I feel like it should go here now. And now from here, I feel like it should go here. Like I'm not really so like my brain, it just is what it is. It just goes everywhere. And so when I'm thinking of a concept for a song, it's like the same thing. It's like difficult for me to lock into a specific story. Like a lot of it is just I'm writing down thoughts, like, and it's line by line. And somewhere along the line, I'll fit it together. And then it'll make this cohesive story. And oh, now we have this character, they're going through this thing, or there's two people, or here's, you know what I mean? Like a lot of it is loosely based around my personal life for sure, but I'm gonna over dramatize and, make it silly as much as possible. Um, but yeah, I love going into a session, like if we're writing with, say, co-writers or whatever, a lot of the time I love to go into a session and just vibe off of them and do the blind thing. There's been in the case of Castle Walls, that was like I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning before the session and was, like we got to work with some songwriters that we'd wanted to work with for a while. And I was thinking about their style. I was thinking about who else they had worked with. And then I just started writing the verse and the chorus, and that's pretty much what we went in with. And I had a melody idea, and as soon as I sang it to them, they were able to start building the musical composition kind of around that, which was a different approach than um, a lot of the times. I guess similar to like sitting down on your bed with an acoustic guitar and just singing whatever, something like that. But this was with drum pads and synthesizers and stuff instead, which was different and cool. So it's definitely beneficial both ways, but B was mostly the preferred way, especially if I
Yeah.
don't have anything and I'm like, wow.
You're like, I'm just here. I'm
Yeah,
here
I'm
for
just
the
here for the
vibes.
party.
Yeah. No, I love that. That is very much a so I pretty much ask every single person I interview just because I'm personally curious. I don't know if anyone else is curious, but I know I am. Just because everyone writes so differently. Like I know there's some people who like they have like actual concept albums to where they are going in with like an entire story and it's a character and it's not really them. It's like this whole world that they've created in an album. And I think
Right.
that's really fascinating, but I also think going in blind is fascinating because I can't write a song. So I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't understand how y'all do it, but I love it. It makes me
Yeah, I
happy.
I think a lot of it is just gibberish for me. Like it really is. Like so a majority of the time, like say Nick will come up with like a piece of music or something like that. It's basically what I'll call it is like a bed, right? So it's almost finished. Um except for there's no melody, there's no lyrics. And so he'll toss it to me. I'll sit with it for maybe it takes an hour, maybe it takes a couple of days, maybe it takes a couple of months, maybe it takes me coming back to it in a year to really kind of do something. But I just like scat over it. Just ba, 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 like whatever the Beatles thing with what is it? Eggs? Something about eggs,
Yes.
scrambled eggs or something like that. I think it was, oh yeah, that's scrambled eggs, and it's let it be, or whatever. So stuff like that, just saying silly filler sentences and phrases and words and just making fun with it. But then eventually out of those sounds, we'll come up with like lyrics, find melody, find all the things. So I'm kind of constantly just in my car driving around and just like singing nonsense, and yeah, it's a good practice, but that's kind of how it goes.
I love that. So when I was doing some reading up, I saw that you guys had previous projects before you basically created Pretty Awkward.
Hmm.
What is something that you learned through those other projects that you have taken on for Pretty Awkward?
So much. So much. Enjoy the moment. Appreciate it. Gratitude. I mean, those are the simple spiritually philosophical things. Um, but that it also doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be difficult. It can just be simple. It can just be easy. And most of the time, simple is the best thing. Like that's that's just what I've come to like understand. And I remember thinking, we're talking about songwriting and stuff. I remember thinking that everybody did it a certain way. Everybody writes songs, they make demos, then they go to the studio, and then they turn out to be the songs that you hear. But sometimes those demos are just as good. Or sometimes the song gets scrapped, or sometimes the song's written, you know, in 2 hours in the studio, or, however long later on somebody's cell phone or something like that. There's just so many different ways, like you mentioned. And so kind of observing that and learning, I think also like learning what I don't like, if that makes sense. Um, because it's easy to know what you do like, because what you do like, you just, I like that. But learning what you don't like is kind of like a whole other gymnasium in itself, like hopping and jumping over ideas and things and then going, okay, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. Well, why doesn't this work? And then kind of lyrically, melodically, whatever, I mean, could be wrong notes, could be wrong words, but I think it's just definitely been a process of learning what I don't like, because I already know what I like. And it's just finding that thing that I love about a song or a chorus or a feeling or whatever it is, just finding that in every particular piece in its own way and then pulling that out. So
No, I like that. Yeah, because
yeah.
I think life is just filled with a bunch of learning moments. So they're all really difficult, but you're going through like those trials and tribulations are only going to help you in the future on doing what you actually like to do that comes easier for you. That's not like putting you in the trenches, like, because you shouldn't have to be there all the time. You should like
Right.
learn from that moment and then bring it on with what you do in the future. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. Um, so back to the music. You have a music video for Woozy. Um, I guess like what was your favorite moment filming that music video? Or is there like a fun memory that you kind of like take with you that you just always like want to talk about?
Oh yeah, no, it was all fun. One specific one was when we were filming. So I basically was Mr. Woozy throughout the whole film, except for when I was singing. So yeah, that was pretty fun to just kind of walk around the city in like this huge helmet that you can't see out of, and just it was just goofy. It was fun. But when we were filming the drums, we were in an alleyway in downtown Seattle. It's like South Lake Union District, and so we had I can't remember if we had like a little JBL, like the little speaker thing or whatever, and we were playing the Woozy song, and we're filming the drums and start seeing people like poking their heads out of their apartments and like looking, but nobody's like saying "shut up," like that sucks. Like there was people like cheering and clapping. We're like, "Oh, sorry, you can go back to bed. It's like 10:30. Sorry, we're out of here." But it was that was pretty cool. That was a pretty fun memory.
Oh no, I like that because
Yeah.
that's like something that like we don't see as the viewer, but you guys like you lived it, so you get to like take that experience and be like, yeah, remember when we were just outside and everyone was like peeking their head out, but there was no like get off my lawn, like
Yeah, no, people were just like curious. They're like, "What are you guys doing?" We're like, "Sorry, we're filming a music video."
yeah.
Oh, cool, have fun.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of really nice people in this city, and they're like, "Oh, cool, I got
Yeah.
to see some rad."
They're like, oh nice, like what's
Mhm.
your link? Like I'll look it up later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's your at? What's your IG?
Yeah. No, I love that. So with these music videos, are you involved in the concept process or like how involved are you in that? And like do you bring anyone on? Do you work with anyone? Kind of like how do these music videos come about?
Yeah, definitely involved. I definitely have a control issue. Um, but it's also just because it's like, you're writing the song, you kind of think of a concept and here's this direction. I've been in this situation where, hey, we've got a song and we're going to get a treatment from a director, and the director, it comes out, it's a cool music video, but maybe it's not ideal. It's not like what was in my head. It's very similar to the songwriting process. Like I've written songs and brought them to producers and expected them to turn out the way that I imagined that they would turn out, the way that I'd hear it. But how they're turning out is the way that that guy and their taste, their style, their flavor, how that turns out. And which is cool for that, but for me, I've been, for the most part, like disappointed in like how something will turn out, even if we're putting it out or releasing it. So I feel like this music and these videos are like I'm most proud of them because they're like so in-house and so direct from source, I guess, if you will. But like, so what we've learned is like, I mean, we've done more music videos for this project than we have for any of our other projects, which is awesome. Um, so we've been fortunate enough to work with directors and filmers who see our vision and see like what we want to accomplish. And in that process, we learned how to do things on our own. And so, hey, we can edit ourselves a music video. We can just hire somebody to film and, not necessarily have too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will. So yeah, it's, the Woozy video was definitely Nick's mind. Like he like showed up at my house one day and just started spray painting these masks. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm sitting there working on this like light show for a live show. So we're just both nerding out, drinking San Juans and just doing art projects. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
No, I like that. I think I like when an artist kind of has their hand in everything because you know that it's like from their brain. And I
Yeah.
also like, I'm just a curious human by nature. So like I like to know, or like I like to see a little bit more inside someone's brain because I'm
You
like,
like to look behind the curtain.
yeah, I like, so when
Me
I
too.
know that someone like the artist had a lot of like, they were either the director or they're the one who came up with the concept. I'm like, it's a slight peek behind the curtain and being like, okay, I know the song that you put out. I love the song, but now I get to see like how it is in your brain. And I think
Right.
it's just so fascinating and I love it.
Where
It's
it came from, where what
yeah,
it's doing,
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. I'm
It's a
totally
little
with
peek
that.
behind the curtain for
Hmm.
me because I always look at like the credits. I'm like, did you have anything to do with this? Like,
Right, right, right. Or
some-
how many people had their hands in it, like how
yeah,
many people participated in the writing of this thing, which is
yeah,
really
for
that's to
sure.
me that's the fascinating stuff. I mean, when it's like a Beyonce song and there's like 13 people, it's like these 13 people had an opportunity to write on a Beyonce song. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
and
like,
the
oh
fact
my
that
gosh,
that
I want to see.
exists.
Yeah, it's like I want to see what other work you're doing because like how'd you get in the room?
Right, 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 right.
Incredible.
Who's the gal from terrible references because I don't remember names, but she's so good. She the middle. Why don't you just meet me in the middle? That song.
Oh,
The gal that wrote it, she lives in Australia, I want to say.
hold on, I'm gonna look this up. Hold on.
But she has a cool voice, but she just doesn't want to sing
Um, the middle.
with Zed.
Oh gosh.
There's a whole like documentary on the song, and it's phenomenal. It's really cool.
Well, it's not Mary Morris because Mary Morris sang it.
Yeah, but she has a voice. I'm destroying things. She's got a voice similar to the original songwriter.
Yeah, hold on. Songwriter. Sarah Aarons.
Yeah, I believe that's who it is. I
Yeah.
believe that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like how many other things are you on? You know, how many other artists have you worked with, especially since that took off and blew up, you
Oh,
know.
for sure.
It's really cool. I'm a fan of people behind the scenes mostly.
Oh,
That's
same.
really cool.
I want to know everything. And I'm like, that could be just selfish, me being selfish, but like I want to know. Then I'm like,
Yeah, no, I'm with it. Like I'm it's funny, people have asked me, like friends from high school and stuff like that, like I'll come back from a tour or something like that and say like, "Oh yeah, I met so and so." And they're like, "Oh man, were you starstruck?" I'm like, "Nah, I get starstruck by the people that you don't even know." Like you're not even aware of, like producers and mixing engineers and stuff like that. Like I'm like, "You're so good at what you do." Like the singer, like, "Okay, I get what you're doing." The guitar player, I get it. The drummer, cool. But the producer, the mixer, oh man, those guys. The masterer, weird stuff.
that's how I am with photographers. And I went to the Switchfoot show last night in Houston.
Oh, what? That
I
sounds like so
need
much fun.
I need to meet the lighting director. Like I need to find him on social media because that was insane. Like it was a small venue and his lights, I was like, one, you made my job real easy taking these
Yeah.
photos, but
Yes.
two, oh my gosh, like how did you do that? Like I just want to meet you and thank you and say like shake your hand and be like thank you so much for the work that you do.
Oh, that's amazing. Where did they you said Houston?
Yeah, so I'm in Houston. They played at the Heights Theater, which is a
Okay.
small it's I mean it's a decent size, but it's a pretty small venue here.
Yeah. I
I
just
had
played the
never
Bell Bar.
Yeah, I've never been to the Heights Theater before.
Okay.
That was the first time I went, and then the lighting, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, how did I was like, you're good at your job. It's like I know why you've been hired. Like,
Dude, and it's so funny. Like I've been working our light show and programming it and all that stuff, and I had such nice compliments because it's like, oh, it goes with the drums, it goes with the music rather than just buttons. And it's such a nice thing when you can go to a show and the lighting is awesome. Like the lighting guy knows what they're doing. They're a musician themselves probably, and so that's such a benefit. Like we went and saw. I mean, not much of a light show because the stage is crazy, but we went and saw Ed Sheeran in Seattle when he was here. Phenomenal show. But I guess I just want to say we went and saw Ed Sheeran. That was cool. But we did see Rod Stewart, and that was amazing. Like
Oh,
it was pretty cool. Like I mean, he's not our generation of musicians or singers or whatever, but I was like, this is pretty sick. Like Rod Stewart's dope live.
yeah, I
So
haven't seen him live. I have seen Ed Sheeran live. Ed Sheeran is one of my favorites just because he plays a loop pedal, and
yes,
you do not see that in live shows very often, if ever. Like I think Ed
it's
Sheeran,
just him.
it's just him.
Yeah,
I
it's
was just,
so cool.
was like,
And it's awesome renditions of those songs too. Like it's still the same song, but it's just played differently, but it's still the same thing. You
yeah,
just don't meet all
and
the people.
he does it all by himself, and
Hmm.
he's in an arena by himself.
Like at our show, it was like 71,000 people just looking at one guy.
Yeah, just one guy on the stage,
Mhm.
and the stage moves, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
this is insane.
yeah.
Insane.
He had Khalid come out because Khalid's been on tour with him,
Yeah.
and that was sick. And then he had Macklemore come out, and they did a couple of songs, and that shit went off. It was so like I have never experienced anything like that before. Like I don't go to arena shows. Like I think the last one that I went to was to see like Lord,
Mhm.
and that was like 10,000 people, but this was like 71,000, 72,000 people. And to just be in the crowd and just watching this guy, like a bunch of my homies went to high school with this guy, like on stage with Ed Sheeran, and the place is just going nuts. Like it was the loudest points of the show.
Oh
It
yeah.
was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've started to go to arena shows recently. Like the stadium tour that I went to was Taylor Swift, and like the energy though, like just the energy. Like you don't even have to like Taylor Swift. You just got to go because it's the energy of it. Like it
Right.
is insane. Like it makes you feel the energy and you want to get up and sing even if you don't know a word. I love her, so I knew every song. But like for people who didn't, like if I brought like a friend and they like don't know her, I'm like, you just gotta go. Like you just have to go and experience this moment. Like you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, I heard it
Just
was a pretty phenomenal show. Like, there's
I
been so many good shows in Seattle. Beyonce just played like last week, and then Coldplay played what's today? Coldplay played like 3 nights ago or something like that.
nice.
And apparently, it was like the loudest. Any like people living by the stadium are like filming out their window, and it's just blasting. Like you can hear it from where I live. I live like south of the city over a bridge, and you get a great view of it and everything like that. But you could definitely hear the music happening and the people screaming, and it was so cool.
I
But
love
the
it.
traffic sucked.
The energy for these shows are just incredible. But I
Yeah.
also really like the smaller shows because like you can get a lot of good energy in there too. Like even if it's super small, if you've got a good crowd, like it just brings it up to another level for like a
Yeah.
live show. And I love live shows. Like it's so much fun.
Dude, it's to me it's so funny because we're talking about like these stadium arena shows, and they seem so when you're there, it seems so like almost unfathomable, like how many people. But once you're in that familiar energy, it's the same thing as a 250 seat club. Like it's just the same. Like we were able to play an album release show on September 1st in Seattle, and it was just awesome. Like it was a packed room. Everybody was happy and enjoying the time. Like, hey, we got to play Seattle for the first time since the pandemic started, and like, so it was just kind of a nice like, hey, we're back. We're back to this normal, whatever that is, and like just to feel that energy and that vibe of people being excited and enjoying the songs and hearing the songs for the first time, and a bunch of people who've heard a lot of these songs that we just hadn't released yet, and so just that feeling is just it's not like any different. It's just that there's more people, I guess.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I think all live shows are the same. Like it doesn't matter how many people are in that audience. Like it's still the same energy, it's still the same vibes, it's still the the beauty between the artist and their fans. It
Mm.
it doesn't change. It's still the same. It's just
Yep.
on a different scale. And I think that's what's the beauty of it. Like the fan part is just so important because they're the ones who bring you the energy on stage to where you can keep going in a show.
Oh yeah,
So
dude. If there's five people in an audience and all five of those people are at least grooving somehow, if you're just bobbing your head or tapping your foot or whatever, like when I go to shows, I'm pretty like I'll groove on stage and I know how to like feel things, but I love watching. And I not only watching the artist, but I like watching the crowd. I like watching people and like how they're interacting with it. And it's like, oh, okay, like, especially if it's like you're seeing somebody like Ed Sheeran or Beyonce or whatever, like those people that are there, that's like an artist that they fucking love. And it's like, what's the response that they're giving an artist that they absolutely love? I want to see what that looks like. And so when you're playing a show as an artist in front of like three or five people, and maybe the crowd of five people has four people just kind of standing there not doing anything, and one guy's just going nuts. It's like I'm vibing off the guy going nuts,
mhm.
like. But when you have, I mean, like I said, even if you have a show where it's just that many people, but everybody's grooving, it just makes it so much nicer, because it's like, this is why I'm doing it to
Mhm.
have a good time,
Yeah, you can
and
feed off
these
of
people
each
are
other.
having a good time with me. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. No, I love that. I think that's the beauty of live music. Like you can put out album after album, but having a live show is you getting a firsthand view of your fans
Right.
or newer people who might not be a fan, but they just want to check y'all out and see what everything's about. But you're getting that firsthand experience of actually seeing the number in person because like numbers, like having so many listeners or how views on a video, like you still can't see the actual person behind it sometimes,
Right, right,
like the number one or like 10 people or 100 people or 100,000 people, like you just can't fathom that. But
right.
being at a live show with a crowd, you can now fathom, oh my gosh,
Puts it into perspective.
yeah, it puts it in
Like,
perspective. They
yeah,
watched that video, they listened to the song, they did, like they're part of my Spotify followers. Like
yeah, yeah. No, and it's so funny too. Like, there was songs that night that we were playing, and like by the second, third chorus or whatever, people were already singing along to it. I'm like, I know you motherfuckers have not heard this yet. And like, I'm like, this is tight. This is awesome. And I'm like, I'll catch myself. I'm such a dork, like on stage. Like as soon as I hear somebody singing, I'm like, hey, you know it. All right. Like,
you're like, thank you
it's
so
so
much.
fun. Yeah, right. Like, hey, you can do this.
Yeah,
Cool. I'll just save my breath.
you're like, I'll hand you the mic. You wanna jump on stage?
Yeah, I'll just dance and do
Yeah,
that, and then you can sing, and then I'll save some energy, and I'll sound good for the next song,
yeah, yeah.
or at least the first half until you figure out the chorus, and then I'll just give it back to you.
Yeah, we'll take it half by half. Like I do the first half, you do the second. It'll be
Exactly.
fine.
It makes it fun.
Yeah, I love that. We are getting close to the end, but I wanted to ask a really fun question. So we are the honey pop, obviously, and we like all things sweet because we like sweet like honey. What is one sweet thing that you can say about your band or like your album or whatever you want to like talk about? What is one sweet thing about it?
Oh, one sweet thing. Oh man. Um, I do, I do like the authenticity with it. If that's a sweet thing, I feel like that's a sweet thing. Um, but I really like the authenticity, like the we're a little bit older than we were when we first started playing music, so we've definitely adopted the whole don't really give a rat's ass what anybody thinks or says or does, and whatever your response is, hey, if you like it, cool. If you don't, whatever, move on. Like, don't care, because the point isn't. It's for me. It's not for you. I'm gonna put it out there for you to hear, and if you enjoy it, awesome, join the club. But it's more for me, and so because it's like therapy, it's I get to shout my emo-ness or my feelings to the universe in song format, you know what I mean? And um it's something that I really enjoy. So I wanted to just put as much honesty with a little bit of, like I said, over dramatization of of real life events, because to me that just makes for a cool song. Um but yeah, I like where everything's come from, and I like um I just really I like everything about this album. And I'm most excited to have it out because we can get on to the next thing, because we've worked on so many things since, writing the last song for this record, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I like that. That is definitely sweet for me. So I like that. I think making an album as authentic as possible is how you're going to reach a broader audience,
Right.
because you're talking about experiences. They might be really personal to you, but they're experiences that aren't just yours. Like the uh, other people have experienced similar things. They're different because they're each person is different, but I think you get what I'm kind of trying to say. Like,
Yeah, I feel like it's like we're just trying to like invoke or capture a feeling,
mhm,
and no matter what the experience is, we all feel the same thing, whether it's happiness or sadness, or we know what it feels like. Just like the whole, you know what you like, you know what you don't like. But yeah, invoking that feeling, no matter, I mean, your worst day is your worst day, right? So like the feeling of sadness for somebody who just lost their grandparent versus the person that, you know, got their lunchbox stolen, if people use those still. But like, you know what I mean, like it's, there's still sadness, there's that feeling there, maybe in different degrees, but it's still the same thing. And so I feel like that's just what we're doing our best to capture or invoke, is just this feeling, because it's all human, it's all relevant.
yep, it's a human experience. It's all relatable in
Right,
some
right,
form
and
or
it's awkward
fashion.
as shit.
It is. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's pretty awkward.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward.
I was like, I had to slide that one in. So the last question, is, or well, it's not really a question, but is there, we like to give you the floor again at the end of the interview to kind of plug anything that you want to plug. We'll have like all of your links down below and in the article as well, but is there anything specific that you want the Honey Pop viewers or readers to like go and check out?
I think we're premiering a music video
Mm-hmm.
next Friday with Honeypot,
Yep.
and yeah, I'm fucking stoked about that. It's one of those situations where it's you know, you have this idea for a music video, and it just turns out better than what you expected. So I'm really excited to have you guys have that on your platform, and yeah, for everybody to go check that out. I mean, get us on the TikTok or whatever. Like, I'm terrible at making those videos, but I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on all the socials and stuff like that. I think we're gonna try and be better with YouTube, because I know that that's a good asset. But yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. I think our own website too, if you want to check out all of our music videos. I think we have like 6 or 7 of them. It's a crazy amount for a record, but yeah.
So that was our conversation with Austin from Pretty Awkward. As you can see, we got to kind of nerd out on the music industry and creating music and the live shows and just all kind of things music. And it was just a beautiful conversation. We loved getting to know him a bit more, and we loved getting to kind of hear about the behind the scenes of how they created Get Weird, which is their debut album that was out on September 1st. And then also how they create their music videos. Woozy is out now, which you can view. I'll have the link down below. But then also we are premiering their music video for Castle Walls on Friday. And we hope you all come to the Honey Pop and come to our website and view the premiere. And we are just so excited and honored that we get to do this for them. They are an incredible band. We love their music and we love Get Weird. And we cannot wait to see where they go on with this. If you enjoyed this interview and you would like to talk to us more, you can follow us on all of our socials down below. Also follow Pretty Awkward on all of their socials. It'll be down below as well. But we do have a Discord server that we would love to invite you to. We are constantly in there 24/7. We have a wide array of people in our Discord server, and we talk about pretty much all things pop culture. So music, TV, podcasts, pretty much anything, music, fandom, which is really important to us. But we have built this beautiful community of people that we really adore and love. And I'm in there pretty much 24/7, and so are the other THP members. And we want to invite you there and to come and hang with us, and let's talk all things pop culture, because that's what we love. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video and you go and give Pretty Awkward a follow, and we will see you in our next one.